We start in the United States where President Biden has said the man who drove a pickup truck into a crowd in New Orleans killing 15 people had posted videos supporting Islamic State hours before the attack. The man has been identified as 42-year-old Shamsu Din Jabar, a U.S. citizen and Army veteran from Texas. The attacker was killed in a shootout with police in which 2 officers were injured, authorities say. The attack was an act of terrorism and Jabar wasn't the only one responsible. This picture from social media checked by our team at BBC Verify shows law enforcement, many heavily armed, surrounding a white pickup truck. In the aftermath of the incident, a flag for the Islamic State group was found in the vehicle along with potential explosive devices. Tom Bittman reports New Orleans at New Year's Eve. This part of the city is its best known, a tourism and nightlife hotspot. Just after 3 a.m. chaos unfolds, the first signs of panic as police race to the scene. What they find, much of which is too graphic to show, is the immediate aftermath of a ramming attack. Officers say a man in a pickup truck plowed into a crowd trying to run over as many people as he could. He then unleashed a shootout with police who fired back and killed him. It did involve a man driving a pickup truck down Bourbon Street at a very fast pace, and it was very intentional behavior. This man was trying to run over as many people as he possibly could. He was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did. A British tourist, Steve Hyde, was in the city to celebrate his birthday. I was in a bar 15-20 meters from Bourbon and we were all having a great time. I'd been in there for maybe 2.5 hours. At that point, a man, then we heard shots and saw people running past the window. A man didn't really know what was going on. Obviously you know, we heard the shots. We knew it wasn't going to be good. Dozens were wounded, including 2 police officers hit by gunfire. Police evacuated a wide area and say they found a potential explosive device in the truck and other possible devices outside it before they carried out controlled explosions. The FBI says the attack is being investigated as an act of terrorism. At the latest press conference, officials have given more information about the suspect. The subject has been identified as 42-year-old Shamsu Din Jabar, a U.S. foreign citizen from Texas. He was driving a Ford pickup truck which appears to be rented, and we are working to confirm how the subject came in possession of this vehicle. An ISIS flag was located on the trailer hitch of the vehicle, and the FBI is working to determine the subject's potential associations and affiliations with terrorist organizations. Investigators are scouring the scene for clues as further details emerge about Shamsu Din Jabar, including his U.S. military background. This afternoon, President Biden gave his reaction. I've spoken to every member of the agency, from the CIA to our national security team to our FBI and C, and we're gathering all the, and I spend a lot of time with the government, with the mayor. Your reaction when you heard what happened? Well, the reaction was one of anger and frustration. Thank you, he says. The White House is offering its full support to the city, which is now ushering in the New Year, grieving its dead and praying for the wounded. Let's go live to New Orleans now. Our correspondent Carl Nassman is there. Carl, what is the latest? This investigation tonight continues. You can see behind me the police vehicles, authorities still on the scene. This is still an active investigation here. You probably can't see it now. There's a few vehicles in the way, but we're just at the entrance to Bourbon Street where a truck did drive through that crowd in the early hours of New Year's Day. Some details are still being worked out. Authorities tonight have really been focusing in on whether or not there were accomplices involved. That's still a bit murky. It seems as if there were some people seeing on CCTV that they may have been cleared, that were around some areas where some potential explosive devices had been found. There's a couple of areas now where this investigation is being expanded to beyond just where we're standing now. One is also in New Orleans, about a couple of miles from where we are rent Airbnb, where it's believed the suspect may have been creating explosives there. There was a suspicious fire that took place a couple of hours after this incident took place here It's also expanded to another state. Authorities have been looking at home in Houston, Texas. That of course is where the suspect has been living there, currently searching that residence. There we're wondering if they'll get more clues, more information about potential motives, potential links of that taking place across the state, across the city, really an entire investigation by the FBI, by state police, by local police, a very big, obviously effort right now to get to the bottom exactly what happened and why. Okay, Carl, and do tell us more about the suspect. What do we know about Shamsu Din Jabar? Yeah, well, we know quite a lot. A few details here. So he's 42 years old, American citizen, born in Texas, have been living in Houston, Texas, was also a member recently of the U.S. Army. It spent several years in the military. In 2009 have been deployed to Afghanistan. Not clear, pretty certain he didn't see any active duty, was mostly involved in things like human resources, and later went on to try his hand at real estate in Texas, which according to some reports was less than successful, had some struggles in his personal life. We believe as well a few divorces. There have been some trouble potentially within the family, some restraining orders. Maybe this is all going into some court documents that are publicly available, but especially looking at that military record, I think that's what's piquing a lot of people's interest. That have been previous incidents in the United States that involves potential acts of terror taking place even on military bases in the US. So those links to the military are something that authorities are looking into right now as well. And to tell us more about what President Biden had to say about this attack. Yeah, it's interesting. We heard after this attack from the current president, Joe Biden, and we heard from the soon to be president, future president, Donald Trump. Joe Biden coming out, condemning the attack, expressing his condolences obviously for the victims here, and saying there's simply no place in any city in America for this kind of violence. Donald Trump a bit more outspoken, you might say, on social media. Early on, before he knew too many details, he was seeming to imply that the perpetrator, the suspects, might have come across the border. We now know that's not true, but that was his statement that came out really in the moments after that attack. So really pretty contrasting views here from those two presidents, but Joe Biden a very around the area. We know that there were a few names being released now of the people that passed away, that total now up to 15. We still don't have all the names and all the identities here. We've actually, while we've been standing here tonight, seen the Corps passed by a couple of times entering Bourbon Street. We believe that some of that type of work is still going on, trying to determine the exact cause of death. We know that the suspect in this case had firearms on him. They're trying to work out whether or not these deaths were caused by the truck or by those shots that he fired. So there are still families tonight in New Orleans that may be wondering the fate of some of their relatives or friends, or wondering whether they're among the dead. We still don't have all 15 of those names, and that's still something that I think a lot of people in the city would love to know. That'll be a bit of closure, at least for the city of New Orleans. Okay, Carl, for now, thank you so much. Carl Min there, who is in New Orleans for us. A horrific incident unfolded outside the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas on New Year's Day. Tesla Cybertruck exploded in flames, killing one person and injuring at least 7 others. Witnesses captured dramatic footage of the Cybertruck engulfed in flames just steps from the hotel entrance. The explosion occurred more hours after another deadly attack in New Orleans, where a truck plowed into crowds celebrating New Year's Day. Las Vegas Metropolitan's police are investigating, with the FBI now involved. Sheriff Kevin McKill stated that questions remain unanswered about the link between the vehicle, the location, and the timing of the incident. In fact, Elon Musk, Tesla CEO and advisor to President-elect Donald Trump, clarified that preliminary investigations showed the blast was caused by fireworks or a bomb in the trunk's bed, unrelated to the vehicle's design or functioning.